Turns out that Swiss locomotives also belong in the Netherlands. Even funnier, being a Swiss steam locomotive still kept in Switzerland is evidently enough to spare you from the cutter's torch. That is exactly what happened to the locomotive we will talk about today. Before the formation of the Swiss Federal Railways, the SBB, Switzerland would have multiple main railways. 2 or 3 of these railways would receive the Class E3/3, an 060 tank engine for shunting duties. 118 examples of the machine were built by the Swiss Locomotive and Machine Works, the first in 1896 and the last batch in 1915. The Swiss railways had been struggling with supplying their largest stations and industrial hubs with shunters, mostly relying on mainline engines to do the work that they were never supposed to do in the first place. One of these Class E3/3 locomotives, the 2079, built in 1911, will be pivotal to this story later on in our episode. Let's have a look at the statistics of the locomotive to illustrate why this little thing was just perfect for the work it was assigned to do. The Class E3/3 has an overall weight of 33 tons, is about 8.5 meters long, and has a very tightly compressed wheelbase, enabling it to take very tight corners. The little tank engine could reach speeds up to 45 kilometers an hour, which was more than enough. Just imagine rattling along the tracks in one of these tiny chuffers even quicker. You might get thrown off the footplate. During the Second World War, this very series of locomotives fell victim to strange experiments. Due to a shortage of coal, 2 of the Class E3/3 locomotives were converted to electrical heating. This meant the locomotives were equipped with pantographs to tap electricity from the overhead wires, which was used to generate steam instead of using coal. Most of the class would remain in service all the way to the 1960s. Although quite some time has passed since then, you can still find 26 Class E3/3 examples that have been preserved to this day. Now, the history of the Class E3/3 in the Netherlands would only start after the Second World War. Due to shortages in equipment, several machines would be imported from Switzerland. 2 Class E3/3 locomotives were ordered to start helping in the Rotterdam port, receiving Dutch Railways NS numbers 7851 and 7852. There wouldn't follow any more examples of the class, and all would be withdrawn in 1948. Yet, as you might remember, the preserved example bears the number 7853. Then how does that work? Well, let me tell you the magical story of how Dutch Heritage Railway added a non-existent locomotive to a class no longer around. The machine, now known as the NS 7853, would start its life as 2079. It would start service immediately after being built in 1911 at the aluminium plant at Alu Suisse in Switzerland. It received its own number, 4, and was named after the nearby river, Navizence. Even though most of her class were withdrawn in the 60s, Navizence would remain in service until 1982. Because it had been maintained well and kept in running condition, the machine was preserved in the Landesmuseum für Technik und Arbeit in Mannheim. By 1996, negotiations between Mannheim and the Museum Buurtspoorweg (MBS) would reach an agreement. Navizence would go to the Netherlands. Since 2005, Navizence has been running on the MBS heritage line between Boekerlo and Haaksberg, as a reminder of how disappearing heritage can be brought back to life. If you would like to see Navizence running in real life, consider visiting the Museum Buurtspoorweg. A link to their website is included in the description below. Oh well, I'm chuffing off for now. Until next time.